As interesting and satirical as ginormous media network controlled by hideous monster is, it somehow dissolves into a rather bland story that I don't really seem to revisit all that often. And it's odd because I actually distinctly remember being a child and absolutely loving the whole Adam's got a hole in his head joke. In fact, there was a whole playground of us going round for weeks afterwards, snapping our fingers to see what might happen. The episode does its job well, and that is to show why Rose is worth travelling with, but not someone as annoying as Adam. But because he's so damn annoying, I just don't want to revisit him again, you know? And it is a shame considering you have not only Simon Pegg, but Tamsin Greig in the same episode.
Shitting knuckles!
Next is Rose. Yep, I know that might sound a bit harsh given that it's a truly great reintroduction of Doctor Who to modern audiences, but for me,
babe, pizza.
Just a bit too much. It's really difficult introducing a non-fan to the show through this episode because it's just so over the top. Next is End of the World, which is funny actually because it's almost Rose Part 2. I know it's not considered as such, but you start from Rose running into the TARDIS and we pick up straight away, and it's so much fun. Cassandra is delightful, and the ending where the Doctor confides in Rose that Gallifrey is long gone pulls at my heartstrings every time. What puts it low on this list is simply because there are just so much better episodes to come. Aliens of London and World War III are not as bad as people make them out to be. Yes, the Slovene CGI is awful, it always was. Yes, the farting part is cringeworthy.
Shaking my booty.
But actually, I mean, my opinion sort of shifted on this a little bit because I have a non-fan housemate who remarked that, well, they're politicians, that's what they do. And actually he's right, because people forget that this story is a carefully crafted satire. You know, pulling from, let's just say, certain events from recent history that, well, YouTube won't allow me to mention. So, plus the addition of Harriet Jones, it's just a joyous piece of television. You know, I could save the world, but I might lose you. Brilliant. Boomtown next, arguably Series 1's cheapest episode. It's Cardiff, it's Margaret Slovene. You're sort of reusing things, you've got the entire TARDIS team together. They're having fun. The stakes are smaller than usual. Well, except the imminent destruction of Wales. That scene between Chris and Annette, which talks of gods and men and morality, it just shines. It's the perfect storm of great acting and superlative writing. And I don't care what anyone says about it. Father's Day just inches in here because saving the life of a loved one with time travel, no matter how good, is quite a cliche story. It works tremendously well, don't get me wrong. The threat is a little weak, but the conversation in the church with the Doctor, the bride and the groom about a normal life, plus Pete Tyler's heroic sacrifice at the end, make it all worth it. The Unquite Dead being this high up in the list may surprise many of you, but to this day I actually think it's Mark Gatiss' best script. I love Charles Dickens, I love his work, I love his depiction here, I love the aesthetic, the conflict, just everything about it is so compelling to me, and I will never forget Charles Dickens standing there right at the end, you know, the light of the TARDIS shimmering in the snow before it vanishes into thin air. And it's funny, you know, you have those kind of moments, but it's also very funny, very gothic humour, but I love it. Plus, this face gave me nightmares for weeks. Dalek gets the bronze, yeah, third place. Not my favourite episode of the series, but a cracking reintroduction of the Doctor's most dangerous foe. The scene where the Doctor berates the tortured Dalek is brilliant, and of course, at the end where the Dalek mutant is exposed to sunlight. It just all makes up for the presence of Adam, doesn't it? I love all these episodes. This list is based purely on personal rewatchability. What do I reach for when I fancy a quick hit of Doctor Who Series 1? Which tapes have I worn out the most? Which will I remember till the day that I die? Easily, the next story could have taken first place, but for one reason only, it falls short. The story is The Empty Child, and it seriously gave me nightmares for a very, very long time. I remember watching it for the very first time and at night laying in bed staring at my bedroom door, afraid that something could come through it. And when I braved a trip across the landing to the bathroom, I looked back down the stairs to see the sort of refracting orange glow of the street lamp outside our front door dancing in the hallway, the silhouette of a tree branch reaching out so sinister. I could have died right there and then, and yet despite this, I just couldn't wait for part 2. I was absolutely hooked by then. The show had grabbed me with this episode so strongly, I think that it probably changed me, and I still love it. In first place then is Bad Wolf, The Parting of the Ways. It narrowly wins simply because it's Christopher Eccleston's finest hour, as they say, although it's obviously longer than an hour. It's also his last. It's still the best Dalek story, I think, and actually the best regeneration story of New Who. Everything about it is so spot on. And I know we hear all these stories regarding production problems, etc., and troublesome people, let's just say, and you can see that. The first episodes of Series 1 are, in my opinion, the weakest. But despite the strain and the heartache, everything came together for the end. Absolutely a triumphant ending that solidified Doctor Who on our TV screens once again. I just love it.